Anyway, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. This is the show where we talk about albums, the hip hop kind, the stuff like Chief Keef's Finally Rich, and we go through them track and track. We are not doing the deluxe songs, we're doing the album propers. In our experience, when you go into deluxe songs, the grades get worse and it kind of tarnishes the experience of looking at the project as a whole. So if you want to see us do the deluxe version and you see this on YouTube, if that video gets to 3,742 likes, we'll do the deluxe version because that's never happened before. So that's an abstractly high number. For those of you with us, we're going to run through it. For those of you on the Twitch with us, you get to hear the music. If you're not on the Twitch, you don't. So twitch.tv/behind that suit. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
My name is Chris Crom.
And yeah, today we're talking about Chief Keef's Finally Rich. We like to start off our little reviews describing why we chose the artist a little bit and our familiarity with the artist going into it. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about your experiences with Chief Keef coming into this project a bit.
I mean, fuck, Chief Keef was part of an era in my life where love Sosa, hate being sober, don't like remix, and all of that was just like the biggest shit ever. I was like riding around in cars with the homies blasting this and like just living life, being a fucking kid. Well, kid, I was like 18, 20, whatever, something like that. But still, like Chief Keef has always just been like that good vibe, ready to go, gets you in the mood, pumping, and you're just it's never been bad. Like I know what he talks about. I know his music. Heard a lot about him just over the years. Like, yeah, I know Chief Keef. I know Chief Keef. It's not like this is not
Like
new to
Chris
me.
was
This is
in
not
O Block hanging out on the block with Chief Keef, just like, yo, what's
like
good? Me and
no,
Chief Keef, he hears
I wasn't.
homies.
Okay, let's not put that out there. No, but like yo, the amount of times I played Sosa just at parties and like just with the homies and just like smoking and just doing the shit he was talking about. Besides the gang shit, just like the drugs and the fucking partying and losing yourself in whatever stuff. It's like that's what we were doing, and that was just our life. Yeah, like
Fair.
yeah.
So
Plus, he was also like
Chief
around
Keef is
the
a part of Chris's cultural lexicon of intoxication and girls sleeping with.
yeah. And like when you're rebelling and you hate the world and everything, and you're just like out here fucking just being a late teenager, early adult.
I was definitely older than that when Chief Keef appeared. I remember
Mm.
Chief Keef came out and I was like, old man hater time. What the fuck is this noise? I don't understand why he goes bang, bang, bang so much. I don't it's not processing in my
That
life.
was the craziest shit back then.
Um, but yeah, then like life goes on, and I know we done at least one Chief Keef. I think the Glow Tovin project or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that was really impressive for me. And then I don't know, somewhere along the way, I was like, this dude's like stupid young. When I say like young, I mean like he's currently 26. Okay, like this guy is influenced music in a degree where like not that many people have
Yeah.
influenced music to the like look like you could arguably say all the drill kind of can be stem back to an influence of Chief Keef. Not to say I don't know who
Well,
originated what, I
they're
don't
from
know,
O Block.
etc. But from
Like,
a popularization point of view, I think a lot of us would point to Chief Keef as one of our first exposures to the entire concept of it. And now it's
yeah.
like me and Crispy doing like pop smoke dances at the clubs and shit. So like you can, it's like, you know, I got curious and honestly nothing dropped on Friday that interested me. I'm not gonna lie. New American music has just been like, okay, cool. So I was like, let's go back in time. Bonnie was giving us shit for not doing old albums like we used to. So I was like, what's a good album that would be fun? Chief Keef's first project. Let's go there and do that. And then we were listening to Chief Keef in the limo on Thursday, and it was a good vibe. Um, I'd never listened to this project in whole before, but like I've listened to their hits a whole bunch. Cause yeah, but and even then it was like late. I did not get into Chief Keef until I was like in my 30s. That's right. In my 30s, I became a Chief Keef fan, and now I fucks with all of that kind of stuff a lot more. But it was like a long journey to get there. But listening to this project's cool because like it's like this historical anecdote from the past, and like you get to just look at it how, and you can hear like all this shit that's popular now. That kind of like you just hear these connections through it. So I'm like really excited to go through it with y'all. But yeah, what do you think about the cover and the title and all that?
I mean, I never really thought of it when it first came out either. I was just like, it's Chief Keef. It's just him. You can't miss it. And it's just he's stating like he's finally rich. Like it's more this like this project that I finally made it, and I'm gonna explain to you my story of how I made it and what I had to do to get here. I just felt like it was very straightforward. Um, for a lot of this for me is like moments of my life that are associated with like when I was looking at the photo, where I was when I played the beats and shit. So it's like it's kind of a little bit like iconic to me because I can remember I can position myself in certain places when I remember seeing this. But like overall as a just an album cover, I mean it's nothing spectacular. It's just kind of what it is.
It's mad minimalistic. I mean, this album cover is not iconic to me. It's like to me, it has no memory. I don't even know that I really looked at the cover before doing this review. And I've had like Love Sosa and Hate Being Sober on my playlists or my like Spotify shit for like a minute. Oh, I don't like, bro. I don't like all the time. Like I never once looked at the cover. I never really cared. But I could see how it'd be iconic. I mean, if I'm like you just look at him and he just has this like bossness to him. The lack of color is interesting, and I like how the only color that pops up is like the gold, the yellowish. So it's like this almost symbolism to being rich and whatnot. I like the title. The title's fucking fire. That's like a great way. That's like, yo, I made it. It's like the most I made it shit ever. Like I'm finally here. Like it took forever, but he's like so young when he took forever, and it's like that shit makes me feel super old. But it's he's got one of the most impressive stories and shit. So just seeing that he's finally rich, and then he's still going to this day. He's still making music to this day. Like I don't know. I like the title a lot. It speaks volumes, and it feels like there's gonna be a degree of celebration in this project. Just looking at the title, which is I guess kind of what you want to hear. You know, you want to see people win. I think fundamentally, and it really conveys that shit. But when you look in his eyes with the smoke and everything, it doesn't feel like a happy win. Like it just feels like he's finally winning.
Well, yeah. I mean, given everything he like kind of talks about, and like when you go through the story of Chief Keef, like when you kind of start to find like some of the things he's been through and just hear like really look into other music and shit, and then you like find out all the other dudes, it's like fuck. Plus, they're from O Block, right? So they're from like the same block from that Little Dirk's from and shit too. So when you kind of think of like where these guys do come from, it's like, yeah, I'm finally rich, but I also know what I've been through, what I've done, what all these things, and still like I'm now that I've got money, I still got to do this shit though, because whatever, I'm tied to it. It's my lifestyle. It's my mentality. I'm in this like soldier mode type shit. So like a lot of these dudes kind of have these eyes that are like, I feel like they're appreciative of where they're gone. Like, God bless, thank you for letting me get where I'm at. But at the same time, it's like, y'all are still haters. Y'all are still fakes. Y'all are still the ops. Y'all are this, y'all are that, because that's just my internal, being.
Fair. All right, let's get into the project. As y'all might know, the first song is called Love Sosa.
Was that a little trippy? I don't know. It's probably a little Reese, but like whatever.
All right, Chris, what do you think about the classic track Love
Yo.
Sosa?
So actually this song and this music video was where I kind of started like that's where I discovered I was like, oh, are we just like rapping in houses now? Like we're just rapping in the trap now. This was like my first like introduction to like people rapping in the trap. Usually it would be like people just kind of rapping in like abandoned places and like outside in parks and shit, whatever. Like in music videos are like really high CGI music videos or whatever it was. So that was kind of like cool. I really did enjoy the music video. I liked watching
Yo,
it over
so
and over again
like we
as like a
gotta
kid.
emphasize that too, right? Because let's like bring it back. Like you're like at that age where you're like that first group of people that are probably coming into music on that YouTube grind, eh?
Well, no, not when this came out. Like I was like so when we were bumping Love Sosa, we were basically partying in a really expensive house that belonged to my friend's father that still had the right like to own the property, and we were just in there partying and doing a like what they were
Nah, but I
doing in
mean
it.
like it
But
was
that's like
pre Spotify
2012.
and shit, right? And you probably weren't copying that CD.
Yeah.
So what were
No, right. Okay.
so you're
No,
getting the
right. Like
music
pre
on YouTube.
Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud would have been really the two spots there. Um, but I don't like. Yeah. No. Right. Right. Fair enough. I think back it would have been YouTube and SoundCloud. But this is a bop, dude. Like this. Like I don't. I like this song because of what it brings me back to. And I like the energy through it. And I just like the way he goes on the chorus and the way he like holds his notes and just like that mumble-esque feel as well, like how it kind of sounds like he's also starting the mumble rap shit too. So that was dope too, always. But like for quoting bars and shit, it's just hard. Like I never really quoted a lot of the bars per se. It was more just like this is just that drill shit. That like this is just that gangster shit. That like yo, you really don't want to fuck with these guys, and they're letting you know. And I think it does play on he does a good job playing on with the intro where he's like telling everybody like yo they didn't believe in me and everybody thinks I'm not hard and everybody thinks I'm not who I say I am and like they're testing my gangster, they're testing my fucking street cred and all this shit. And I think it does a really good job kind of explaining to you who Chief Keef is. Which also just because I was listening to one of the podcasts recently, they were talking about like in that time also there's like this, maybe not in that time, but there's like this idea that you had to be hard in hip hop before. Like now we're all emotional and we're all like, oh man, like not so much mental health, but like I've got issues and we're trying to fix them and the inner me and all this stuff. It's like at a certain point you were supposed to like your persona was supposed to be hard, and I feel like Chief Keef's also kind of explaining like, yo, I'm really am this dude. Like this isn't just like a persona. This isn't fake. Like y'all can't actually question if this is real or not. This is real. Like this is really me, and he does it like when I first heard this song, there was no question to it. This was like this is fucking hard, bro. These guys really do what they do. So like that's how I feel about it overall. I gave this a 4.8. Yeah.
Yo, as wild as Chris gave a whole breakdown based on his memories of the song and didn't really talk about the song all that much. But I thought it was so interesting how you're like, yo, this music video was such a part of my experience because they're in houses now. Yo, the one thing I can remember from that, and I don't know when the timing is, but like I'm pretty sure Chief Keef did some shit where like he was on house arrest, so he had to do a music video in the house or something like that. I don't remember which one it was, but like it was fucking like I remember that part of the story, and it like added to the lore of Chief Keef. And I thought that was cool. But this intro is probably one of the most favorite times I've ever heard a person just yell a bunch of shit at the start of a song, and it's just like this guy's frustration with people doubting Chief Keef. Like he found the perfect snippet of somebody on a Facebook Live or something, and like grab that shit and just like put it there, and it just is the most fitting start to this project ever. It's just like this guy's raw passion that Chief Keef is exactly who the fuck he states he is, being on probation and all this other shit. And I'm like, man, I can't even listen to the song without that fucking intro on it. It doesn't feel right. Then it just kicks in and he's just like, you know, the bitches love Sosa, and just kind of mumbles out that little part. I don't want to call it mumbling, but relative to the verse, it's the best way to like describe what he's doing. He's literally mumbling his hook. And then it just flips in, and it's just such an earworm. Like that chorus gets stuck in your fucking head. You're just gonna be over there mumbling it all day to yourself, because I don't know all the words to it, to be honest with you. I go like, these bitches love Sosa. I didn't even know it was O-N or no N. I thought it was O-N, I know it. Like, I don't fucking know what the fuck he's saying. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, so now I get what that means, though, because I've looked a little bit into the Chief Keef lore. But, like, fucking with them old boys, you're gonna get fucked over. Raris and Rovers. Like, what he's saying is really authentic to his lifestyle, I'm gonna assume. However, I don't think I'm listening to Chief Keef because of his bars per se. It's his delivery, it's his flow, it's his attitude. It's like the way he just comes with this nonchalance to his flow that is just so dead ass confident. Like, there was a confidence to this shit, and just the idea these bitches love Sosa. It's like a double, right? Like, there's the women who love him, and then his fucking haters love him. And right off the jump, you're getting this clever little line that sets up the whole song to be a series of flexes that just come through. And when you look into it, it is like this dude really legitimate with his shit. And the chorus, the verses, they basically kind of follow the exact same flow. But the Young Chop produced beat is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay, DJ Crystal Clear. If it wasn't Facebook, it was YouTube. It's the same principle. But like, you just get this dirty beat that just makes you fucking just want to move. You just can't help it. All of a sudden, your arms are doing that kind of shit. You fucking want to jump around. Like, when I was like off cam listening to this, I didn't even stop moving until like track 5 when I started testing the limits of my stamina. Like, this shit is like. Well, I mean, I listened to each song twice, so it was a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But like.
Yeah.
It was really like, I can't stay still to this. This hit my like playlist a long time ago on some turn up shit where like if I need to like feel energy, it just makes me feel like I want to move and whatnot. When I first heard this song all the way back, I couldn't understand it because like it's so direct and simple with the bars element. But when you really get into the vibe and the lifestyle selling that he does here and the way he like projects this confidence and the precision of his flow and the way he enunciates words in such a way where it's just him, like it just sounds like him. And there's so much to his style that he brings to the flow and so much to the combination of his voice over these beats that just like fucking slap into this cohesive energy where it just makes me want to jump around and smash it. And I like that feeling a lot. Yo, this shit's a 5 on 5. I don't know if it's like critically a 5 on 5, but I'm gonna listen to Love Sosa for the rest of my life. So why wouldn't it be a 5 on 5 to me? It's a fucking fire ass song, and a 22-year-old me would probably not be impressed with me saying that. But fuck that guy. This version of me has better taste.
I did want to say, I always thought the line, no, we don't do friends, boy, collect bands on oh, fuck. I didn't even realize, even after I read it back then, I always thought he said collect bands on the landlord. Like, he was like so gangster that he was like charging the landlord of like wherever he was staying money and all that shit.
No, but he is the landlord.
He is the landlord. Like that.
He gets
that
so
is
much
true.
commas, bro. He can fuck your mama. He ain't the drama.
Mean, that's true.
You can meet his llama. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds fire.
I'm pretty sure that's his.
Yeah,
it's his gun. I've always assumed it was his gun.
It's just, to me, it's like, fair enough. I'm cool with not knowing. It's not like I'm from the Chirac streets and shit. Like, nah, B. I just like the fucking music because it sounds fire, and I really like the way Chief Keef delivers this shit. So while I did know Love Sosa a whole bunch, I certainly had never fucking heard Hallelujah before. All right, Chris, how do you feel about Hallelujah?
I thought it was a nice follow-up to Love Sosa. I feel like this one's more celebratory about actually making the money. I felt like Love Sosa was more just about celebrating him and like who he is and kind of like letting everybody know like this is the person I really am. This one's more like, yo, we really are fucking out here balling. We're really the cool kids on the block. And I thought it was cool. It didn't give me that type. I didn't get the same type of feel, and I know that's a little bit biased just because like I don't have anything attached to this because I never really went to this project entirely back then. It was really just the singles in those moments. So with that, I thought it's just cool how he kind of slang or like kind of just like jumps around with it. Bitch, I'm cooler than a cooler. Big shout outs to Majula. And just he kind of like punches some of these lines, that was cool to me. He's clearly letting people know that if ever you hear he's broke, it's a rumor. So always remember he's always got money. He's always just like on top of shit. What I thought was cool is like how he doesn't want drama. He's like, I'm just trying to have a good time with my girl. I'm just trying to hang out. Every time she's acting up, I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm just like, yeah, I feel that. I just want to have good times and do what it is. But I also like how he's telling everyone else, like, yo, if your boyfriend wants to be like me, tell him to get his shit straight. Like, be like, yo, get on your grind, make your fucking money, do what you gotta do. Like, just don't idolize me. Like, really prove that you can fucking do this shit, which I thought was cool. Yeah. I mean, the rest of it kind of flows really nicely. I didn't really have too much else. I gave this like a 4.2 on 5. I thought it was like pretty solid following up the last one.
I was listening to this and I'm like, yo, in a live environment, this shit would be fucking lit. Like you're
Mm,
already singing
mm.
out. Like by the end of the first time you heard this song, you're screaming out in the audience, "Bitch, I'm cooler than a cooler. Bitch, shout outs to my jeweler." And like you could probably do the whole hook within 2-3 listens of like bumping this. And I realized how much this music is catered to a live experience of like a bunch of people
Mm,
packed into a room, like fucking mosh pit kind of energy and shit. People just
mm.
jumping up and turning together. And unless you really like that, you're probably not going to connect with this music. That's like the facts of this shit. Like, you know, as a reviewer, the main goal is less to be critical, but to like identify audiences and intent. That's a fact. You can Google the difference between reviewer and critic. And I'm a shit critic, but like, yo, this is absolutely about like fucking that kind of energy. And since I'm super into that shit, if you catch me at a live show, I'm jumping around looking like a fucking buffoon. That's what I want, and it really just hits on that front. But yo, I can't really vibe to this like in the chair sitting down. It's a
Mm,
hard
mm,
for me to vibe to it sitting down, like not moving. Once I start moving, the song sounds even better and it hits the energy right. As far as
mm.
the bars go, I mean, it's mad simplistic flexing, but I think we all have to take into big consideration. He's what, 17? When he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
17 and he's
yeah, yeah.
dropping, but like again, the flow is just so on point. Every line is delivered crisp and perfectly. He's been fucking doing this shit and he's rich before he's an adult and shit. Like it's wild to me. And like, yeah, it's mad like flexy
Not even rich. He's
simplicity.
also got a daughter too.
And
Like at this age.
yeah, it just sounds like a guy who be out there living his best fucking life, kind of enjoying it in a way of being like, don't believe whatever. I'm really out here doing it. And I suppose if you're 17 and people are saying it's not true, you're gonna really get up in your feelings about that shit and write songs about it. Like that's the most normal 17-year-old shit ever. Cause like it kind of feels like, yo, I heard rumors that y'all don't believe me. Let me tell you what the fuck it really is. I'm actually rich. Hallelujah. And I really love the energy he brings. But more importantly, I love the way this beat kind of has that jumpy kind of cadence to it. It's super constant and it's really great for being out and about and partying and like having environments where you want to turn up with your people. It's not necessarily sit there with your headphones on and get pensive music, but holy shit, does it make me want to move. It sounds like a 4.25. I feel like there is a bit less for me to chew on it in this. Even the vibe, it's a little simpler than some of the other ones. But I could also see how if I listen to this like 30 more times, I would be vibing to it as much as some of the ones that I've just listened to hundreds of times at this point. So it's sometimes hard on a project where you have some songs you're extremely familiar with and they're back to back against songs you've heard for the first time like a week ago. And it's hard to be like fair with grading, so giving you all that context. But yeah, I like Hallelujah. I would not skip this. I would just let this shit play. I would vibe to this album. But it really is sandwiched between two songs I think are like some of the most fantastic songs of this energy that I could find. And that's just what happens sometimes. And that's that shit I don't like. I don't think I ever want to hear the edited version of this song again. It was very weird to listen to this song edited, as you can see by the lyrics in front of you. How this would be so bizarre. Don't listen to it. Just I don't know why Chief Keef has the edited video on his official YouTube channel, but that's what it is. Maybe it was just a time and he had to make it an edited version. But holy crap, it's like I'm not trying to make fun of it, but this shit's like a meme to listen to edited. Anyway, I love this song. How do you feel about this song, Chris?
So, uh, this song was actually introduced to me as the remix first. And I really like the remix more. Just because it had like Kanye and like Pusha T and like the other dude that's on it too, that was just way more hype at the time for me. Um, this one is just as hype. But like what really stood out to me and what really makes this song cool is that at least for me and like around my friend group and people that we would chill with and talk to, this became like an actual like mentality. Like these are things we don't like. These are things like I've saw people like really follow this like as like a code at a certain point, as like this is what you're supposed to be. We're supposed to be aiming for like luxurious shit. We're supposed to want like authentic shit. We're supposed to want like no fake shoes, no fake jewelry, and then like don't hang around with like snitches or people who are gonna like lie on you and shit like that. And this really became like more than just an anthem, more like it kind of became like a way of life. It is a way of life essentially, but like I don't know, I just we all like just were chanting this, and this was so fucking fire. Again, whether it's this one or the remix, the fucking statement is literally the same. Like, I don't like this shit, and we want everyone to be like authentic and true to themselves. And just the different things that like they're not playing with sneak disses, they're not playing with fake people, they're not playing with people who are gonna like be two-faced, and just kind of go very kind of go and explain to you the various things that they don't like. I really like this. I really did like this. I gave this a 4.5 though, just because yeah, I prefer the remix better.
I mean, that's fine. This is just one of them songs where, like, I don't know, it just comes through, and like you said, it's got like a code and an ethics to it, right? Like, this is more than just the shit he doesn't like. It's honestly like, if you avoid these things, you can be rich like me, in a sense. So avoid people that are up to the tomfoolery or snitching or not doing their shit proper. Avoid sneak dissers. Yo, real talk, sneak dissers are not people you want around. Those people be like, will wildly really spread dirt on your name if you let these people around. um I guess I got to keep your circles close and whatnot, because there's just a lot of shit out there in the world that be wonky in all circles of life. So even if you're not in the streets, a lot of the things he's stating in this song are just applicable to like aspiring for better business or better standards of living. It's like, you know, having a bad bitch is better than a popped bitch. Fair. Smoking Reggie, that's that shit I don't like too. You shouldn't smoke Reggie. Don't go to the SQDC. Find a homeboy that doesn't irradiate their weed to dry it. Like, it's not good in the government lands. Like, you know, the one thing he does like, or somebody does like, I thought was fun as a flip on it, is when he pulls up on your bitch, she gonna like it. So I feel like that's cool. You're not gonna like that though. But like, there's a fun energy to this song where he comes through with this complete disregard to what you care about. He's just stating the facts of some shit, and it's one of those tracks that I think a lot of people can study, because there's this idea that repetition in your bars is bad, but it's not. Music is entirely built on repetition. And when it's done right, you can more or less say, that's that shit I don't like 100 times on a song, and people will fucking vibe to it everywhere they go. I guarantee you he doesn't have to say any of them. He could probably not perform this song, and the crowd will spit this shit lyric for lyric the entire fucking song, and he can just stand there like this. Guaranteed.
It's to a point, like it went to a point where like we would just be sitting outside doing whatever, not even listening to the song, and just yo, such and such, that's that shit I don't like. Like it was just somebody would say it. Somebody would just throw it out there exactly the way it was said. Like this is literally, this had a huge impact on people.
But then there's also lines like, and we ain't gonna fight. A gun's gonna fight, where it's like, yo, we ain't about that old way. This is how it's gonna be. And then immediately, that's what I don't like. So it's like it carries this like heavier threat as it goes into the hook the next time. I really fucking like. I dig this song a lot. The beats just kind of, and I don't like. It's got like this slower, grimier feel that just comes through, where it's the raw energy and disregard in Chief Keef's delivery, where maybe you have to be like 17 and angry to spit some shit like this to that level of disregard. But holy fuck, like there's something to the way that he brings to this track that is so there's not a lot of songs that can really hit me and make me want to like fucking stand up for everything I fucking hate in the world. Like all of a sudden, I'm ready to tell off anybody after listening to this song. Like it's really amazing the impact it has. The second verse kind of follows through. I like the fact that he's not gonna snitch, never in his life. He reps his hoods. I believe 300 is the bigger gang affiliation he's part of. I like how he tells you not to play both sides, which, according to Trap Lore Ross, that shit can happen in the complex nature of the Chicago gang world, of which I don't know a lot, but he's giving you good advice to survive a situation, you know, just giving you a code of ethics to move through it and based on what he likes and does not like. Then little Reese comes through and does his verse, and arguably I did not realize there was a feature on this track the first time because they have very similar styles and energies and flows, but then you can kind of tell they're not the same dude. And I fucks with little Reese. He's got like a different flow, but like it hits just so good next to Chief Keef that it makes sense that they be like on songs together. Everything about his energy works too, holds it down. To me, this song's a 5. Like, based on the fact that I really enjoy listening to it, and whenever it comes on, I feel like I have to listen to it until the end without exception. And I think that if I could see this live, that would be an experience I would really pay. I'd pay a couple hundo possibly, depending on how rich I get. You know, just to go see this one song, maybe a couple others get performed live at a set, because you just feel like that experience would be so lit. And again, like most of this project, I feel like you have to like consider the live element of it to understand like the full capacity of where you're going with this music, or at least the party side. Like you need to be like sweating around sweaty people for this to like really be like the proper experience, I think, for this kind of music. Anyway, I like this song a lot. 5 on 5. I never get sad when this shit comes on. Anyway, I don't know how that album switched. I guess it was on something else first. But, yo, the next song on the project is No Tomorrow. All right, Chris, how do you feel about No Tomorrow?
I really, really like the beat more than anything, to tell you the truth. I feel like in terms of lyrics and just the energy we're getting, it's like this is pretty much the same a little bit. It's got, again, celebratory. We're happy that we're like living life. We've got money. I kind of get this feel like we're living it like there's no tomorrow, because kind of like with some of the shit he's been through, you never know if like today is his last day. So there is that like carefree, gotta live in the moment type feel to this song, which is cool. But like, I don't know, I wasn't really like kind of feeling the lyrics themselves. I do like his presentation on it, but the beat itself was wild. Like I just really enjoyed the beat. I like that, like the weird do 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 thing that was going throughout the track. That was cool, and just like the way the drums kind of like had these weird like little patterns with it. That was also nice. But overall, I was just like, yeah, this is dope. This is dope. I gave this a 4 on 5.
Yeah, I really like this song. It's one of those ones where like the first time I heard it, I was like, damn, this is kind of repetitive, because like his flow doesn't really change a lot. But then when as I listened to it more, I was like, I find it, you get to this point where you just kind of get lost in the song a bit. And the way that the ad libs kind of are like matching the volume and fade over the lines of the vocals, and like the beat just kind of has this wavy kind of feel to it that just kind of engrosses you in like in the same way that ASMR videos do. To be honest, the song made me feel a little tingly like an ASMR video. The way it all just blends together and flows, this like mesmerizing use of sounds. And I think what makes Chief Keef so interesting is how much like his voice just gets used like an instrument to accent the song. And like the bars are like, I mean, they're fine. I don't know about dope or whatever. Like they are mad expressive about what the fuck he's feeling in that moment, with like the depth of what a 17-year-old going through all kinds of excessive fame is gonna be like. You know, so it's gonna be like I'm buying fancy shit and fucking girls and dealing with that drama, because like that's what his fucking life was. Do I empathize or relate to it heavy? Nah, but I'm also not reckless and 17 no more. I'm like overcautious and planning for my 50s and shit. So it's like just not in that place. But when you get past that and think about the energies and shit, it's a whole no regard take over the world. Like, take advantage of like the now and the moments that you're in, while simultaneously like questioning the. It's almost like he's not sure how to handle groupies. From what I can tell, famous people hire prostitutes because groupies go kind of psycho on you, and it's weird to deal with. Groupies might not be the flex for fame. Just what I've heard. I'm not fame, so I don't know about that life. But like overall, he's just flexing. He's got lots of fancy shit now. He's chilling with his people. It's just like celebratory. And I mean, if I was making an album called Finally Rich, expressing what it's like to be finally rich, I suppose I would be kind of describing the various things that are there, like the tattoos and the designer and shit. Like, but also keep in mind, like, you're 17. Like, it must be so wild. Like, this is it. Like, you are living the life. What else? But then there's the other side. Like, what are you gonna do with all this shit? You know, like, if you're 17 and already having this, aren't you set for life now? Why are you gonna worry? Like, you're gonna have a certain degree of no regard. And I think it's like this inspiring energy where like people who are living with a lot of rules and confines can like almost fantasize living with that level of not having regard and pushing boundaries and shit. Like, I think that's, and when you see people doing it and actually living this life, you kind of get this like attraction to the whole lore of it. So he's just flexing on all this shit in the way he is, but you also know that Chief Keef's out there kind of doing this shit, and he's so young and he's so rich, and it's like this whole thing put together with him just stating the facts of his life, while shit be blending and harmonizing so well sonically. Mike Will did a really good job on this beat, and the way this was produced just creates an experience where, again, I think this works in the clubs and the live and shit, where imagine being mad faded, it's like 2:30 in the morning, and this shit's blasting out of giant speakers at you, and you're like, yeah, like, if you know the words again, you'd be like fucking singing it out, because there's so many quotables for people. Like, all the bitches love us. Wouldn't you want to be singing that shit at 2:30 in the morning? Of course you want to be singing that shit at 2:30 in the morning. And I think Chief Keef fully understands that side of music. So yeah, I give this like a 4.5 on 5. It's a really like fun ass song to listen to. The next track is Hate Being Sober. Chris, how do you feel about Hate Being Sober?
Again, Hate Being Sober is one of those songs that just, when it came out, it really, really resonated with me for a couple. Well, the main reason was at that age and like just kind of smoking a lot every day and just kind of living by the idea of hate being sober. It like really kind of, like, every time the chorus would come on, dude, I would like really be invested in that. Like, I truly hate being sober. Like, it was some like weird fucking like psychological shit. And like, that is one of the big impacts of this song that I do remember. And like, that still kind of to this day, because it's interesting how he's like anti-sober for no reason. Like, and sometimes like I would kind of feel like that too. Like, I don't really got a reason to be like this fucked up or like just living this type of lifestyle. But I also am like addicted to it, and I love it, and I love what we're doing, and I love all this like good time feeling shit. And that's kind of what really impacted me from this song. For me personally, I mean, I never really liked 50's verse on it. I was like,
Oh, it's such a weirdly
cool.
placed verse. You listen to it and
Like,
you're like, the song just is not the same song anymore.
always, every time I've heard it, I was just like, this is okay. Like,
Maybe
that
that's
to me
why,
was
like,
just like a 50 Cent
because like the
cosign.
50 Cent and Wiz Khalifa verse without the Chief Keef verse, okay, like it kind of works, like in the music video version. But when you have like a minute and a half of Chief Keef, like the way this song is structured, and then 50 shows up, it's like, what the fuck just happened to this song?
That's what I felt even back then. And also like, but the Wiz Khalifa verse makes sense to me because at the time Wiz was also blowing up, and I was like on Wiz like heavy like that. His ONIFC records, his like fucking Taylor made record, and like the whatever one that references his school and shit. Like, I was on Wiz. So for me, I was like, yeah, of course you're gonna have Wiz on this track. It's like he's meant for this. But I just never felt like the verses ever hit as hard. I felt like they were just there. Like they were supposed to just kind of be there for the hype. It never really got me. Like even just I don't know, like Chief killed it. And like it just like listening to Chief, I've always felt like, yo, I really understand that you don't like you hate being sober. And I feel like the other ones were just like, yeah, this is what we do. Like, whatever. There wasn't that like oomph to it. There wasn't whatever. But still, this song did get like a fucking a high grade because again, it was one of these songs that just back then like wasn't just me. It was like a lot of people really were like fucking with this song, and it was like an excuse to like party and drink. Like, just why are you guys doing this Friday? Yo, we're drinking. Why? Because we hate being sober. Like that was our response. Like that was our only excuse. And maybe it's because we were all dealing with whatever the fuck we were dealing with inside and shit. But like it really became just like I don't like and just the idea of not being sober was like a huge thing, at least to like me and around the people I was surrounded by and shit. So I gave this like a 4.8 just because again I'm stupidly biased to it just with all like the nostalgia and shit and everything that's there. It's like it brings me back to a world. Um but even that, I still feel that the verses are still kind of like the two other verses, 50 and Wiz, even with all that attached to it, it's still like okay. Like I I that's
I
it. That's my rant.
I I mean, I like this chorus a lot. I mean, I'm not sober a lot, so evidently I can't say I hate being sober. It's not like garbage. It's just not my preferred state of mind in general for the better part of my adult life. So do what you will with that. But I really love how the chorus just slaps into okay, so I'm the weed guy. Fredo, he's the drinker. Tato, he's off that Molly water. And collectively, we got you covered. We can't spell sober. And it's also interesting because it's like right before like the pill painkiller takeover. And Molly was still cool. Because you don't really hear people rapping about Molly no more. No, it's not really a cool drug no more. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But now everybody on painkillers, which is a whole other vibe. But it's a different era. I also really like the way he goes at the end of this chorus because we can't spell sober. Y'all know us. We smoke strong, bro. Watch me roll up. Watch me roll up because I can't spell sober. And the way he does that roll up's kind of almost like a double there. Like, watch him pull up on you because he's all fucked up. But also, like, watch him roll his weed because it's very simple, but I felt it was fun. But again, pretty much the whole draw of this is the hook. The way he sings it, like the melody, the way it's like, damn, I hate being sober. I'm a smoker. Like the way he sings that shit over the fucking beat and the whole vibe of it has this like rock star anthemic stadium vibe to it that just makes you just want to fucking jam out and get fucked up. Like it's an anthem to not being. It's almost like a grimier version of Young, Wild, and Free by like Wiz Khalifa and Snoopy. Like it's a little grimier than that. And then like, even Chief Keef's verse, like on my tour bus, we get dumb high. Like it just sounds fun. It sounds like this vibe of like getting fucked up and partying that I was not really a part of in my like younger days. And then, like at the end of that verse, just call up D Money. Now we throw money. All these bitches off the shits walk around like some zombies. That's another one of them lines that you could just picture people be screaming out when they faded. And you're probably in an environment where there's a lot of people that are like that when you're listening to this shit, getting fucked up at some house party where drugs is an open policy and stuff. Like, this is a vibe to a lifestyle that a lot of people live and can empathize and connect with in a really deep way. Even if maybe as an old man in me is like, they're promoting drugs. I'm like, yeah, kind of, but like it's more like this is just who we are and what we do. It's not really promoting anything. It's like I do this shit. I hate being sober. This is if you fuck with it, come join the ride. Then 50 Cent, who arguably loves being sober, which is something you would learn when you look into his like behind the scenes life. Like, yeah, he did a little 1-2 on the Drink Champs, but he's notoriously like gone on wax and said how he wrote like that weed track on like Get Rich or Die Trying, but wasn't really a smoker. So like it's a weird choice. But he doesn't even say he gets fucked up. He just more sounds like he moves and distributes, and the girls around him are there. And then when it's a party, we get party vibes. But end of the day, he's a pimp and a gangster. And I'm like, this is such a weird verse for this song. It changes the whole fucking vibe. And then he comes back in, and then by he I mean Chief Keef comes back in, and then you get Wiz Khalifa's verse where it's good, but I feel like it's a mild version of Chief Keef. Like Chief Keef is really out there, and the other two are not really partying to that degree. Like I feel like I'm at the Wiz Khalifa party, but I'm not invited, or I would not go to the Chief Keef party. But like I'm already in the Wiz Khalifa kind of parties. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're just different parties, and it's interesting to see these three things put together. But this song feels like a rich producer engineered some shit and like wanted to see something happen, or like a cosign or something. But like this gets a lot of partial listens on Spotify, because once 50 comes on, the song gets kind of like whatever. I already heard what I needed to hear. I'm good. That's how I feel about this one. So I don't know, 4.5, because that hook is like stellar. It is one of the best hooks on this project. Anyway, let's talk about KK. Chris, how do you feel about KK?
Um, I mean, I really do enjoy the beat. I think that that's a lot of where he gets points for me. It's just the beat selection and just the way that there's just live energies and just like there's like this sense of positivity, even though there is like aggressiveness and like the things that he's done are kind of like not the happiest shit. It's just you get this like, yo, we're really pushing through, we're really breaking barriers, we're really just kind of like making our movement and just keep going, and we're making money and we're doing what we got to do, and inevitably women love me, so it's great. But like I don't know, I kind of feel like there's a dip a little bit, just in like listening
Did you
wise over
listen to
with the
this at
project.
parties, Chris?
No,
See,
the
it's
rest
what
of
I
the
was saying
project is gonna
before. It's
be a
that
lot of.
familiarity shit. You don't have memories of some girl that you trying to fuck while I like is playing.
No, well, I mean, I have that just with different songs, I guess. Like this, maybe not with this song, but in any case, I do like this song, and I like that it's an ode to his daughter. Like he's
Well,
like
I feel
KK's his
like,
daughter's name.
yeah, and I feel like it has to do with the last line. Like I put that on my daughter. Like all of this shit that I said is
Yeah,
so real that I'm willing to put that on my daughter, KK, and then
yeah,
name the
and
song
that
after
just
her.
kind of like more solidifies that like realness about him. I liked it. I mean, it was a 4 on 5. I was just like, this is cool. The beat's really great. Like I really like the beat, but I just felt like we've heard this, so whatever.
I mean, I feel like again, that's what I meant about the live show experience. When you listen to this album and you just let it play, it's one of those experiences where it's what 45ish minutes, so it's not like
Yeah.
crazy long. You're just going track to track to track. It carries this emotional flow. This song to me is like refreshing, because as much as Young Chop is ridiculous, breaking up the Young Chop production with something like this more upbeat KE on the track kind of has the same impact as the Mike Will song. It's like more upbeat. It's got this different kind of energy that you're on. It almost feels happier than some of the other ones. And then you get Chief Keef coming with the same level of energy and shit that he's had on the other songs. He raps in a very comparable way, but it's just he still fits and adjusts his voice and tonality and everything to be proper. The way the ad libs just get placed perfectly to enhance the song. And plus, I like a lot of the bars. Like, yo, pulling up in my foreign, full of ignorance. You peoples is boring. I'm bobbing like I'm Jordan. And I kind of understand the sentiment of what he's saying, like he's out there actually living this intense life, and then all the people kind of talking shit or hating, or hell, even look at us commentating on his music all this time later. Like, we're all probably kind of boring in comparison to the world that he's from. And I kind of enjoy that sense of energy, because as you elevate in life, I think one of the things a lot of people don't talk about is how boring everything kind of gets a little bit. Like, you start having extreme experiences in regular life, does not feel the same no more. But yeah, and then it's like girls love my daughter. My daughter's Ballin. Like everybody, and then it just starts from there. Like this is my life now. We have, and it's the same. Okay, like it's the same general sense of content. It's not like
Mhm.
any of these bars are super popping out to me, but I could also see myself really having certain lines where you just pop out and start singing them. Like they just are very quotable. And that's something that I find is consistent across this album. Like every song is written in a way where it like could be a single, and every song is written in a way where when you're considering the live performance, you're going to see people be able to just latch on to certain lyrics, sing along, and he's going to know which those lines are, do a lot of that interaction shit. And I feel like this was really meant for the performances or for the party environment, because playing this shit A to Z at a party, like you could just put this album on, and outside of
Mhm.
maybe 50 Cent's verse, there's not that much that I would want to turn off. It's true though. Nobody wants that verse at a party. Doesn't sound that good. And I like how he keeps shouting out his friends. I like how there's a consistency on shit like O Block, 300. Like you're kind of left with what the fuck is all this shit? And if you don't know, you don't know. And if you learn, you figure out that there's a lot of complexity to some of the things that get said out here, where it's like it's not really my culture or understanding of what's going on. I don't come from that world, so I try not to speak on it. But man, he really be out there in environments that are super complex with socio-political realities that are beyond the average middle class person's understanding. And I feel like he manages to incorporate that into his music in an interesting way. On top of that, he's like, yo, I don't pay for sex. I be coming in her mouth and she not getting my money, and your girlfriend want me and she can only suck me. I'm like, I'm not even fucking your girlfriend. She's only allowed fellatio. It's like, man, this guy's got like this whole ass set of rules and this crazy life that he's living. Like, just imagine being 17, walking in the room, and everybody's girl wants you because you're everybody's probably young where you're at too, right? It's not like he'd be hanging out with like
I
50
mean,
year olds.
but that also speaks to like how like it also speaks a little bit to how older mentality he is like than I guess some other people around his age at that time, and how like he moves like a G, he moves like a boss. It's kind of like he was probably tapped into some like OGs at the time who like kind of taught him certain ways on how to really be like a man and how to handle certain situations, especially if you live this life. Like he clearly doesn't
I, d-
like.
I guess being rich will attract a lot more adults to you. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like this whole song's a vibe. It's hard to describe it with other words. You're either gonna like it or you're not. And if you've liked the rest of this
Mm,
project, I don't see why you wouldn't like KK. But I could also see how it wasn't chosen as a single. It's not a bad song by any means. On the other hand, I don't know about the next track. That one was a really hard one for me to get into. I think I gave KK like give it a 4.35. It was less
mm,
memorable, but it was still very good. But the next
mm.
one is Laughing to the Bank. Think
This
about
is a bop,
what?
bro. Okay. Yo, hold up. Hold up. So like this is basically, in my opinion and Chris Chrome's opinion, Chief Keef's rendition of fucking 50s to the bank. Like this is literally what that is to me, because he goes, I'm laughing to the bank with this, ha 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 ha, on like the 51. And this is what I feel this is he's literally just having fun, and he's like kind of paying homage to that in some sort of way. Dude, this is wild. The way he just like you could get you see the picture of him like ha 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 ha, and it's like sarcastic in a way, but it's also really fucking funny because it's like he's just, this is what he probably does, is he's genuinely laughing to the bank with like happiness and his friends, and they're making jokes or whatever. But the fact that he does it in this comedic, like sarcastic way where it's like I couldn't give less of a shit, to tell you the truth. Like I'm
I
just
think
going
he's
to the
like
bank
it's
to
like
deposit my money.
I bet like there was a conversation like what's the worst song we could make, or like the most obnoxious shit because we're rich now,
Bro,
right?
no,
Like
this is not, no,
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 this
this
is
is not the worst.
obnoxious.
Yo, the way he raps on it, bro. I smoke la la
No,
la,
no, that
let
part's good, but
loving
that
get it
hook,
high
bro,
high high.
that hook is
But
like
like,
one of them things where I'm like, okay, like I get it at like a sonic level how it's sticky and shit. And I actually like the
nah,
art
man.
on it because it really I've never seen a man so blatantly disregard anything and just be like, fuck all of you. I can just
But like
do
that's why it's
this.
so cool to me. Like to me, like
Like
a
I
part of
can
me is
you
like
gotta
this is how
actually
I
try.
sort like
Like you all have to try. I can just be like, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. And I'm not saying it's a poorly delivered ha ha ha. It's
right,
really sticky. But
right.
it's also like obnoxious. Because like
I feel like he like really kind of just was chilling with his homies and like this is kind of how when they're like whatever really high or just enjoying life and shit and this is kind of how they talk to each other sometimes like just on some like yo we're just being weird type shit and this is just our lingo like they're just having
but it's
fun and
also
I
okay,
felt
because
like
here's what it is, man. It's in that first verse. I'm from O Block, bitch. That's my block. I be whack. Ha
and the
ha.
way he says
I,
my block like the way he just said that's my block
but
like
that's
the
it.
way he
I
says
feel
that was
like
so
he wanted
fire.
to write this whack song that was
Mm.
just fire. Because this is a whack song that's kind of fire because it's so
It
skilled.
is fire. There
Because
is
it's
no
the
kinda. Drop the
I
kinda.
don't know. I'm not sold entirely on this yet. I mean, like I get it, but I'm not sold on it. Like it's like clever. It's very like it's almost
Mm,
like a
mm.
meme. This song feels like a meme, a flexing meme. Like, and it's just so because like it feels bigger than the song, right? It feels like I'm so good, I can do this. You can't make a song like this. Like you can't
Right,
just be like going ba 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 bye bye bye. Like you can't do that, but Chief Keef can do that. I'm like,
right,
there's a
right,
degree of
right.
like I don't know. Like it took me a second because the first time I heard this, I did not like it. The fourth time I heard it, I still did not like it. Now I'm like, I get it. I think I'm too old. I just think I'm too old for this. Like a little bit, right? Like this feels like some shit where like if I was 17, I would be like all over it. But I'm just
Bro,
not
this is
that no
hype.
more.
This is hype. Like, I'm not
I
saying that
can't.
this, like, I may go back to this for the
Or
next
maybe like
couple,
I'm
like,
not
just a week.
faded or something and I have to drink. Maybe I'm not rich. Maybe I have to go laugh to the bank or something. Because, the rapping is really skilled. Like, don't get me wrong. The way he hits this flow, it's so standout. It's actually well done. He maintains the thing the whole way through, but it's mad repetitive in a
I
way
don't know.
that,
I
like,
really like
he
it.
does it to
I like
death.
it.
I can,
Like, I like it.
and I don't know if I like the beat as much. The beat feels like it's laughing at
The
you.
beat's okay.
The
The
beat
beat's okay.
feels like
I
it's
just,
laughing at you too.
which on a creative note is actually kind of cool. I like this. I really just felt like they were just chilling out, having a good time, and I feel like sometimes this is maybe how they like joke with each other and like just kind of make fun of it. And I felt like there's this. Honestly, this felt like a sense of hip hop where it was like we're really just doing it for the love of music. Like we're just doing it for the fun. We're being creative. There wasn't really like I'm not trying to spit a whole complex message or something. It's just like enjoyment. I gave this like a 4.8 or some shit. Where is it?
I mean, fair. Like again,
4.7.
I feel like his energy matches what he's been doing. It's really stand out. Like it's very distinct. It's a song I'm not gonna forget. I just don't know if I enjoy it. I respect the art of it. So it's like a 4.2 because it's really well made. I just don't know if I like it. That's fine. I liked everything else so far. I pretty much like this project except for Laughing to the Bank. That one was hard for me. But the next one is Diamonds, which are also hard but in a different way. All right, Chris, what do you think about Diamonds?
Uh, not really the greatest. Um, I
Mm,
I I don't biasness. I don't really care for French Montana. I was literally saying that when I was reviewing this. I was like, yo, the only song I like from French Montana is Ocho Cinco, and that's because he's got like
bro,
one little
fuck with me,
verse and
get a
then
bag's
everyone
a
knows.
bop.
I mean, sure. I don't really like, I don't know. I've never really been like, oh, French Montana, and then whatever. But that's not even it. Just the song itself is just kind of mid a little bit. Like I don't know. It's like good. It has the same energy.
It's because like half
It
the
is
song's
what
a
it is.
chorus.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't really into it. Like I just wasn't really vibing that much to it. I was like, the beat's okay. I feel like we've had better beats so far. Just the verses are dope. I guess I don't know. It was like it was a 4 on 5. Like it's not bad. It's just there on the project. Fits with the project.
Yeah, I definitely think like unlike most of the songs, this song relies extremely heavily on that chorus, which is a good chorus because I like his flow on it, like that. I swear my diamonds are so blind, and please don't look at my wrist. Like again, shit you want to say. It's got a vibe to it. It's got this melody to it. He's taking your girl. He's got his pockets on swell. He's ready to go. Is it novel information? Absolutely not. We have definitely covered the subject matter by this point on this project, but I like the way he rides the beat, etc. But then when you get back to the hook by like the third time, it's a long ass hook. And then the verse doesn't bring in that much different like to like break it up or to give us like a different flow. So it ends up kind of just being that one flow from Chief Keef for pretty much the whole track, which unlike the other ones didn't necessarily stick as well. It does feel a little bit more mid, but it isn't bad. Like if it came on at a party, I would just start talking to whoever, whereas some other songs would be like, okay, and then it'd start turning up again when like the next song came on. So it'd be like it's just like a break from turning up, you know, a little chill. French
Mm.
Montana's versus I it fits the song. He flows well, but again, everything about this whole song doesn't really have a lot of standout, super hooky shit. Like the deliveries all feel like you're kind of fucked up already, and nobody's trying as hard to like be as flary. You're just like whatever, this is what it is. Like it's a great groove, but I don't know, the energy doesn't feel like as intense or as powerful as some of the other tracks. The beats I'm not thinking it's bad. It's just I don't know. It just feels like a more filler song compared to some of the other ones. I give it a 4. It's enjoyable, but I kind of agree with you, Chris. It's feeling a little mid, but at the same time, maybe if I had diamonds that were blinding and I was having girls, if I could take your girl with a wink, maybe I would feel like this was my favorite jam and shit. I'm pretty sure I can't take your girl with a wink though, so it's a different reality for me. But yeah, that's about it. I don't want to dwell on this one much longer. Let's talk about Ballin. All right, Chris, do you enjoy Ballin?
I like the intro to this. Like I like how in the interview that this is taken from, it kind of feels like he's being real with what he's saying and like how people and like how his kind of like his siblings like kind of thought they were better than him and stuff, but there also feels this like humbleness to it. Like he doesn't want to like put them down and stuff. Like he's just being honest in a way. Like he's not kind of brag on his family. He's just telling it what it is. So I thought that that was cool. Um but then like the song just kind of follows through and just kind of gives us the same that we've been getting. I do like the chorus, just bad bitches keep calling. I swear this money keep falling, or however, I don't want to butcher it, but like I like how he kind of jumps on that and I like how he flows with that. That was really cool. The ad libs throughout this song do stand out. And it was dope. I really like, and only because I have one, but I rock with the whole rocking in my pink dolphin because I have a pink dolphin shirt. So like, yes, pink dolphin, they're dope. Um, but yeah, I mean, like the rest of it to me was just like this is just another like Chief Keef song. Like you're gonna like it or you're not. I wouldn't turn it off. Definitely would not turn it off. I'd keep it going like within the project. But yeah, it's just like a 4 on 5 to me. Like it just kind of does what it does.
I like this one. The intro adds like a funness to it because it kind of reminds you of where he's at in life and how it's still shit. Like him and his sister are competing to be the one to be rich and some regular family stuff that gets mixed into it, and then it just kicks into the beat. And Leaky Leak is a funny name. I'm just gonna say I enjoy that name, but it kicks in, and I really think this entire song is built around him going, "Cause I'm ballin'," and just that part of the song is what it is. He brings it back in the verse to great success. It does that. He has like a different flow to like chop it up to differentiate it from the chorus, but he just keeps bringing it back. Like I don't even know this bitch no more because I'm ballin'. And one of the things I wanted to comment on that I forgot that I like that he does is that rush shit. Like he kind of does a lot of syllables quickly in the first half, and it doesn't necessarily follow a conventional in the pocket type flow. Not to say it's not like in its own pocket, but like it doesn't really matter about being matching up flawlessly and shit. It's more like he's gonna adjust his speed and cadence and just make it all flow so perfectly where it is kind of hard to do a Chief Keef flow because when you read it off of paper, there's a lot of syllables that like how the hell did he make that shit work? But he's just able to in the way that he adjusts the flow and kind of comes in a bit early or a bit late or just kind of rocks it all with the right kind of energy. Either way, like I just think this song kind of is another flex, another successful track where he is enjoying the fruits of his labor over an airy beat and he just does his thing. There's not that much more to it, but it feels not necessarily mid, but just above mid, but not quite good. Like it's in the realms of above average, but like I feel like there's some real standout songs on this album, and this just kind of again has a bit of a filler-esque feel. Like if you really like it, or you may feel like it stands out, but I would be surprised if everyone was saying this was the best song. It just doesn't have the same edge of the other ones. It's more smooth and it's nice, and it feels like it carries the album along. But yeah, I like the ad libs. The ad libs are the best part of this track, I think. Um, anyway, I give it a 4.35. It's definitely enjoyable. The next one on the project is Understand Me. Chris, how do you feel about this one?
I love Jeezy. I'm never dissatisfied when Jeezy's on a track. Um, but I'm still kind of left with just like, I do understand you. I understand that you are flexing hard, coming with money, and you're doing what it is you're doing, and you're just balling out. Um, I don't know. I'm not like tired of it, but I'm also just not like getting that
Yo,
that
Chris,
that
you quite
energy.
literally have, in stories you've told me, spoken to partners of a certain variety in your life with that bitch shit, she don't understand me kind of mentality. I feel like weirdly, this is one of those songs that most closely hits to your home.
I didn't really kind of take it that way. I just kind of took it as like, understand me. This is what I want to do. I didn't take it as like a girl not understanding me. I thought it was just
That
more like
bitch
y'all need
say
to
that
understand
she.
me.
I'm just saying it's more like being on that grind mentality and like, yo, you all
Mm.
need to understand that if you deal with me, this is what it is. I don't think people fully understand me, and like when you're focused like that or you're on that grind like that, sometimes people want to be in your periphery and they don't really understand what it means to be, so they think you're cold or uncalculated or that you don't understand them or whatever. But it's like, nah, end of the day, this is what it is, fixated kind of shit. And I felt like that kind of energy coming from it.
And I
So
can
it's like
see how you
laying
can
it
get that.
clear, like, this is what it is, yo.
Mm. I can see how you get that. I don't know. I just kind of just felt like this is just another like understand what I'm trying to do type shit. And it was cool. It was cool. Again, I like Jeezy's verse. That was also dope. I didn't really feel like anything really stood out. I just enjoy listening to a Jeezy verse. Just always liked it. But this landed at like another four for me.
I mean, I enjoyed this one more than some of the other ones. Like, to me, this one felt like, oh, cool, we're late album and it's picking me up because that hook is nice. The ad lib kind of complement it a lot. Overall, I feel like the beat is also really cool. Like it's more on that upbeat energy, makes me kind of want to move again. And the last few, I wasn't feeling like I wanted to move, so that definitely impacted my overall experience. Um, I don't think that from like a content perspective, he's adding a lot to the table at this point. But it's also not really that kind of project. So it really is the way the ad libs are hitting, the way he's coming with the energy. It feels back like there's a level of disregard again, and I find that when Chief Keef brings that disregard on this project, it is more enjoyable. Then Jeezy comes in, references I don't like is like the first part of it, which I thought that was a cool cosign, a cool way to kind of move it all forward. And
Mhm.
I don't know. From that point on, his verse just kind of did feel, in a sense, standard. It felt like this one was more to make the labels happy, to like put the feature on it. Like some of these cosign verses kind of always feel like lesser songs, but at the same time, it's enjoyable. Like I don't feel like I was sad listening to it, but when you listen to the chemistry between Lil Reese and Chief Keef compared to like Jeezy and Chief Keef, I don't really feel like they're on the same wave per se. Like they're on different energies. However, it's a good song. I'll give it a 4.25. The beat, everything. Like if it came on, I wouldn't skip it. But I feel like a lot of the bangers on this project have been knocked out at this point, and now we're just kind of padding things out more from like a quality perspective, not or an innovation perspective, because like the quality's all there, but I don't know that like it has the same kind of banger esque feel like some of that earlier shit we were getting. I don't know if that fully makes sense, but either way,
I feel you.
the next one on this is 300, the album version. All right,
Fire,
Chris, how do you feel about this
fire,
one?
absolute fire, except for the Rick Ross verse. I just,
I like the Rick Ross verse.
it's not bad. I don't know, man. Rick Ross is really like a hit or miss. It's like I'm either gonna really like his verse or I'm really not gonna like
Yo,
his
it
verse, and
is
it's like
weird
that
that
with
it's all these
a
like
lot of shit.
really older guys on these tracks with this young dude. Not like they found some like 21-year-olds to roll with him, you know?
Which I also think that like gives more of that solidification to who he is and how big he really is at this age and who he
I
can
guess
actually
Wiz
connect
Khalifa's
with
kind
and
of young.
shit. Um, roughly. But like this to me is cool because it's like he's kind of letting you know, like, don't fuck with my young people. Don't really mess with the people who are in my group because they are my family. They are people who I make sure they're protected and shit. And that's kind of how I took this. It's got a heavier beat. It's super hard. I really like this is like anthemic to a whole other level from what we've been getting. And I'm like really feeling this. This was really, really great. I like how he's offbeat, like he kind of when the first verse comes in, he kind of like lets it start and then he just comes off beat, kind of just doing whatever the fuck he wants, but also using like the ad libs to kind of keep him on beat as well, which I thought was super dope. Um, Lyrically, I mean, it's all pretty much the same shit. But like, yeah, I really, really do like this. I brought me back and kind of revitalized me with this project, and I was like, oh shit, like dope, dope, dope. And then the Rick Ross verse hit, and I was just like, okay, all right, it is what it is. But I did give this a 4.5 on 5. I thought it was fucking nice.
Yeah, it's got a whole vibe to it. Like the way Chief Keef comes through does feel very anthemic on this one. It feels like we're back on that. We're really caring about the live performance and how this is going to translate. Like you feel like you want to get up and bop around the room and just kind of roll with it. It's also like you feel boss with these bars. Like, you know, he's got his whole squad of youngins around him. They be out there fucking making moves. He like references being like 100, but then also 300s with that's his like bigger squad, so it kind of ties into that world. He's got the the whole action going on, but he's pulling up in an Audi and you're pulling up in a Honda. So his life is there, your life is in a different place. The verse is a bunch of flexing, but he's on this like slower, more again blatant disregard shit where I feel like I really enjoy the way he delivers his lines. I enjoy the pauses and the way the ad libs have a chance to breathe. I like the chantiness and the just the overall bigness of the beat. And Rick Ross does feel kind of weird, just in the sense that it's like it feels like Uncle Rick Ross came on the track, and like yo, he's out there
Yeah.
cooling with his youngins, and the very first thing Rick Ross says is, "My dog died. They put him in a plastic bag," and it's a bit of a vibe killer. However, it does bring in that I guess realness to Rick Ross. So it's very heavy content, and then immediately we're about that all black, which makes sense because I guess if you're going to funerals and shit, or I guess retaliating or whatever. So miss me with your battle raps, and I guess people were making fun of Rick Ross and raps or something. So I like the way Rick Ross delivers every one of these lines, but it again feels kind of like 50 Cent's verse where it's a little weird on the song, right? Like maybe I'm just misunderstanding it, but I really enjoyed Rick Ross's here. Like I just felt like he also has no fucking regard in his delivery and has this blatant don't give a fucking shit attitude and just saying what he gotta say, and the pauses and the way he just places everything is fucking perfect. And I'm like, yeah, no, this really fits. Like they're kind of doing the same thing, but differently in a way that really vibe together. So I feel like this track just flowed nicely, and that's why it's like easy to give it something like a 4.5. Because if this came on, it's maybe not as high energy as some of the other one in terms of tempo and speed, but it still manages to deliver a feeling of that same kind of energy, but in a more subdued and controlled way. And I really like that feel. Anyway, shut up, Rick Ross. Even if Chris don't like your verse, you got this. You were better than 50. Next one is Finally Rich. All right, Chris, how do you feel about this final song on the project, Finally Rich?
I thought the spoken intro was cute. I thought like just the way well, according to Genius, it's like his little brother or something. Or his little boy, whatever. I just thought that was cool. Like this pure sense of like happiness and accomplishment of like seeing, you know, somebody you look up to or whatever has like made it, and like being able to showcase that to the world. It's like it's not just a celebration for Chief Keef himself, it's a celebration for everyone else who looks up to him and who follows him within what he's doing, what like he's been saying on the project. And I thought that that was really, really nice. The rest of it, I mean, I was just like, yeah, you're finally rich. You finally made it. And you're gonna keep working. You're gonna keep doing what you're gonna do. It was a nice closer in terms of like the story when you're going through like the different experiences and the different things he's done to kind of made it to this point. Um, but I like how he's like in verse 2, I be flexing with my big bros, Reese, Money, and Frito. And it's like he's kind of bringing that, like, yo, these are the guys that have been down with me from the beginning. This is my squad. This is my people. And like, how else are you supposed to be like flexing if you're not with your like homeboys, you know, like your close people. So I thought that was cool too. But like it kind of just suits his purpose. He's finally rich and he's kind of celebrating it. And I thought it was dope. I gave it a 4.2 on 5.
I really like this song. I feel like as far as a closer goes, it kind of has the ultimate like celebratory shit on it. Like we've gone through a lot of his life, his attitude. You get a sense of the environment, the world he's in, how he feels about things. Well, in the sense of, I guess, women and enjoying the wealth of being young and having no regard to a lot of such. But then you get to this part where it's just like, I guess he's out of jail. He's kind of in a situation where he has this opportunity to go do it all properly because he's finally rich. And despite that, ain't anything gonna change. They all still gonna be real with all their stuff, but it's elevated. He's able to get the better cars and whatnot. And just every time he just drops that bitch, I'm finally rich, and he just brings it back in. Like there's this sense of like we've worked so fucking hard to get here. We've done so much, and it's like finally after everything, we're rich. We are actually the ones. You and I are not the same. People might be following us. People might be like copying us. I'm grateful for all of you, my fans. I think that's the line that really sells it. And I love all my fans. Without y'all, I wouldn't get far. That line right there sells the song because it's like, as much as he's able to celebrate the spoils of his success, he also recognizes who helped him get to that point and how music allows him to have this level of wealth in his life and how much of a blessing it is. And, you know, he describes the different people in his life and how, in spite of that, he has to make money for his family and the people around him and his kid because this is the world he's in. So he has to get rich just to get the people around him to a safer place in life, which he's done. And he really accomplished that goal. And he like fucking, to this day, like he still makes music. Like to this day, he's still putting out projects. And I mean, he's 26, so he probably got a lot of life left in terms of being able to pull off some crazy shit. But the next verse is cool because he kind of flexes how he's making money now. And the idea of getting 20,000 for a show and to get 10,000 to do 8 bars, like that's serious shit. Like his value's so high at this point that he's able to just live off of the music, and he's just so grateful to the people around him. And you know, now women want him, and now everything's kind of different. That's what this song kind of conveys. The sense of everything's different now because we're rich, even though things aren't gonna change, but it kind of is changed. I really enjoy that. I like the overall beat too. The beat just has this super celebratory tone to it that just makes you feel like you're happy for Chief Keef. Like everybody's happy for him. I'm happy for him. And this song's one of the better ones on the project. I give it like a 4.6 on 5. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it made me smile listening to it for the first time. And yeah, I guess that's the project. So Chris, what do you think about the original release of Finally Rich by Chief Keef?
I like it. I mean, I think it would have been a different review if I would have like kind of got into it younger and had all those like different moments and shit. But coming into it like the whole project as a first time, there's parts of it that I'm like, I like this, this is cool. And then there's parts of it where I'm just like, I'm not there no more. So maybe I'm just like, it is what it is. But I think this is cool. I think like if you're gonna go and like go check out Chief Keef, this wouldn't be a bad album to start with. This has everything you need to kind of like get his story, even though it's like by this point he's no longer like in the gutter type shit. Like he's finally rich, of course, but you still kind of get that sense of storytelling and that sense of just like, yo, look at what I've gone through to get to being finally rich. So I overall give the project like a 4.5 on 5.
Yeah,
It's dope.
I like this album actually. Like I would not have liked it back in the day, but listening to it now, I can appreciate the way he raps and how good he is. I can see what he's doing with his flow in a lot of technical capacities where he really just fucks with syllable counts and things in a way where he just makes stuff work that shouldn't work, but it has a lot to do with the raw, passionate expressiveness of his flow. I like the beats. I think Young Chop and him really just work well together, but even the ones that weren't by Young Chop flowed properly on this project, and it creates this cohesive experience where you go through this journey of getting to kind of know Chief Keef in a more pop sense. I'm sure that everybody coming from the world of like following his mixtapes, etc., would have been there, but from like a debut studio thing, like just coming into it, you're given like a lot to attach into the mentality and I guess the wave that is Chief Keef. Like you might not know a lot about the person that he is, but you totally understand what he represents and the kind of lifestyle that he lives, and it's like almost anthemically proud of that, and he conveys that super eloquently, and I really appreciated that. And when it finally culminates to Finally Rich, it just feels proper, and it feels like you're given like the right completion to this project. I'm still not like fully sure why French Montana and 50 Cent be there, but I guess at the time it would have made sense. Like French Montana was super popping at that point, but it feels like sonically it's what it is. But maybe there just wasn't a lot of people that matched his energy at that point that could have, like, I don't know. I'm super curious. Y'all can let us know in the comments if you happen to have stuff about it. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. So I appreciate y'all that watched it, especially those on the live, twitch.tv/behind that suit if you want to watch it with us and see the music and well hear the music. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Let us know what you think. Totally appreciate y'all being here. We'll definitely be back again with another review. Typically, they Sundays at 12 p.m. EST. So on that note, everybody, love y'all being here and live long and prosper.
Bye.
And